this is what this offseason's apparently going to be. It's former Padres signing with the Dodgers. Kirby Yates is the latest. As of Tuesday night, it is not official, and it seems like he hasn't actually signed yet because they got to go through a physical. But Bob Nightingale reported earlier in the day the Dodgers, who already have folks screaming about their payroll, I guess I'm one of them, have reached a tentative agreement with free agent closer Kirby Yates pending a physical. The deal comes on the heels of signing Tanner Scott to a 4-year, $72 million contract, which came on the heels of getting Roki Sasaki, which came on the heels of getting Teoscar Hernandez, which came on the heels of getting Michael Conforto, which came on the heels of getting Blake Snell. They also, I believe, gave Tommy Edman a new contract. So, the Dodgers, like props to them. I hate saying props to them, but props to them for spending money and continuing to build, even though they just won a World Series. But they also have a ton of financial resources and things that just other teams like the Padres just simply do not have right now. It's obvious the Padres do not have this right now. Just go look at them fighting over $1.5 million about, right? Million plus with Michael King. You really think AJ Preller, who's never gone to arbitration before with any player, he hates it, clearly, he would want to go to arbitration with Michael King, who he wants to extend long term? No, the reason why they're doing this is because they literally don't have money, is what it sure seems like to me. Or else, why would you go to arbitration with one of your best pitchers who you want to keep long term? And instead, if you don't settle, now you're going to try to shred them apart. I know you're probably going to want to be nice about it, but that's what an arbitration is you go in and you try to devalue that player. That doesn't seem very smart to me. But because of the situation financially that the Padres are in, it seems like things are headed that way in February, which sucks. But this is clearly the situation the Padres are in, is they just don't have the financial resources that other teams like the Dodgers have. And so it sucks, especially because the Padres were close to beating the Dodgers and they didn't. And the Dodgers then went on and won the World Series. And that just seems like it was such a huge missed opportunity because the path was there, right? I mean, I could talk about that all day and just keep rehashing that. But yeah, not, we're not hearing anything about Jerks and Profar. If Peter Seidler was here, I shouldn't even just say that. I should say it differently. If the Padres were in a financial situation like they were a couple years ago, Jerks and Profar would already be signed back because that's someone that you want back on the team, He clearly would be back. But the Padres probably can't go sign him because he's going to get a multi-year deal. Go look at what the Blue Jays just gave to Anthony Santander, right? Higgy, a reasonable deal, and the Padres didn't do it, and he goes to the Rangers, and he's going to be splitting time at catcher. I don't even know if I don't think he is going to be just a full-time starter there because they have Jonah Heim. So just some things have irritated me this offseason, but it's also I have to, and maybe, if you're a fan, you don't have to. You can just be pissed off that they're not spending any money. But for me, as someone that follows the team closely, I have to put that in there. Yeah, I'm frustrated. Of course, I want them to spend money. But at the same time, I do understand that clearly they don't have a ton of money to spend. I don't know how much money they do have to spend. We just don't. And again, the main thing that I would point to that makes it obvious that, yeah, they don't have the money to spend is the Michael King arbitration thing. You don't go to arbitration, especially when you've never gone to arbitration under AJ Preller. The last one was Andrew Cashner in 2014. You don't go to arbitration. And you're going to go to arbitration over less than $2 million for not a bench player, not a fourth outfielder or a reliever that pitches, maybe in the sixth inning. No, one of your best starting pitchers, the guy that dominated in game one of that postseason series against the Braves. You're going to go to arbitration with that guy. that's the situation that they're in. So I have to understand that too. So maybe I'm not as frustrated as other fans are about this, but I think it's because of that understanding. Now I'm frustrated with seeing what the Dodgers are doing, of course, but at the same time, let's just get into the postseason, like this past season. Get into the postseason, and then see what happens. Um, Once you get into the postseason, and then you go face the Dodgers, yeah, it's going to be tough. They're building. They already have a nasty team. They're building a nasty bullpen too with this addition, these two additions. Let's say, assuming Kirby Yates signs, and then Tanner Scott as well, and then you have Blake Trinan and you have Vesia, and it's not going to be very fun. I'll say that. But yeah, Kirby Yates, like that's a solid addition for the Dodgers if they do end up, getting that physical done and all that. He has had an injury history, so I guess we shouldn't just say like 100% it's happening. But yeah, looking at Kirby Yates, obviously, we remember him for him being one of the bright spots in some bad teams, like being the all-star for the Padres. He was in 2019, had a 1.19 ERA that year, 40 on the Padres in 2019. He led the league in saves with 41 in 60 and 2/3 innings. Finished top 10 in the Cy Young, like so nasty. That I think it's his changeup. That thing is freaking nasty, and hopefully, it's not as nasty when he's pitching with the Dodgers. He was an all-star, so 2019 Padres, 2017 through 2017 through 2020 with the Padres. Didn't play in 2021 with an injury. Braves for 2 years, and then the Rangers this past year, and was an all-star. ZRA 1.17. So 2019, obviously a very low ERA. Then it goes up for these last few years, but then goes back down. So he must have found something. He was an all-star, top 8 in the Cy Young this past season. And with the Dodgers, I assume he's going to continue pitching well. The question there with him is the injury history. How is that elbow, that arm going to hold up? But at the same time, if I was a Dodger fan, maybe I wouldn't be that worried about it because of how much depth you have and how you're going to make the postseason. So that gives you the luxury, probably, with the arms that you have, to really monitor the workload and not have to push Kirby Yates as much as maybe the Padres will have to push a Robert Suarez or a Jason Adam this year, or a Jeremiah Estrada or Adrian Morejon, if that's, the guys they're going to have to end up relying upon as their high leverage guys, and they're in a bunch of close games, and Mike Schill has to keep going back to those guys, So, yeah, I don't have a ton else really. It sucks the Dodgers have this much money. It sucks the Padres don't have that money. The Dodgers have hundreds of millions from that TV deal. The Padres have maybe 10 million, maybe a year from that TV deal that they're getting from Major League Baseball to be on Padres TV. That's not the same ballpark there, You're not in the same league with the Dodgers financially. I'm grateful that the Padres already have stars, and they have someone like Jackson Merrill, who's a young rookie, cheap contract, and he's one of the faces of the franchise already. And he's part of that core to build around. Like, that's great. And there's talent as of now on the pitching staff with Dylan Cease, Michael King, Darvish, obviously coming off of a good postseason. So there's talent, but the depth is concerning, or the lack of depth. And I know it's January 21st. There's still time, but with what has happened earlier this offseason, yeah, you got to be concerned about this Padres team heading into 2025. Because while there's talent, how are you going to fill out the rest of the roster? Creativity, obviously, from AJ, but just the things that have happened with having to go to arbitration with Michael King is what it seems like is going to happen. Haven't heard anything about the Padres and potential offers to Jurickson Profar. Are they willing to go multiple years? How much total? How much money per year? Nothing. Couldn't bring back Higgy on a respectable, reasonable deal to be your starting catcher. And now you have that question mark there. You signed Martin Maldonado on a minor league deal. I'm fine with that. But I would have liked to see Higgy come back, coming off the year that he just had. And we've got trade talks with Dylan Cease and Luis Arraez. Financial flexibility coming up again. It's hard right now. It's hard. It sucks. I like being optimistic. I think knowing AJ Preller, he's going to build a good enough team where I'm going to think that, yeah, this team can be a postseason team. But I'm probably feeling the same way or about the same way that I was feeling January 21st of 2024 about how there's talent. They could make the postseason, but there's work to be done. And I just wonder, how are they going to do that? At catcher, if they want to make another addition there. DH, if you trade Arraez, what happens there? Also haven't heard anything about Ha-Seong Kim, so maybe that's something to keep an eye on. Left field, what are you doing there? Rotation, no Sasaki, what are you doing there? So contrast that to the Dodgers, who have Snell, Yamamoto, Glasnow, Gonsolin, Sasaki, May, Ohtani coming back, and then their bullpen with Scott, Kopech. Although Kopech, I did see he was dealing with some inflammation, I think, in his forearm, so we'll see what happens there. But Kopech, Scott, Trinan, Evan Phillips, Alex Vessier, Anthony Banda, Ryan Brazier, and then you add Kirby Yates into that. Like, that's a lot of quality names coming out of that bullpen. The good news is the Dodgers only can reserve one playoff spot in the National League. And so the Padres, they have multiple other spots that they can fight for. It's not like it's just one spot. So that's good news, but when are they going to spend money? Your guess is as good as mine.